So the Chicago Bears have been linked to a big extension. And with all the talk going on about what move the Bears are going to make at the trade deadline, I'm not so sure a big deal is going to be made. I'm not so sure a big trade is going to happen. And anything that I talk about right now, it's just going to be a guess. So let's be more productive. And I'm looking for the Bears to do one thing at least, and that's to get a deal done with one of their own. And that guy, it's guard Tevin Jenkins. I know he's got injury concerns, but Jenkins agents, they're definitely pursuing it. And the last word was back in July just before camp. If you remember, Jenkins answered a question on his contract status. And his answer was he shared that the Bears told him that they wouldn't talk about an extension until October over the bye week. And well, here we are, the bye week. And I think we're better served talking about what's happening for sure. What we know for sure is that these talks are actually happening right now as we speak. And it's just a matter of whether it gets done or not. So if we look at Jenkins, he is a player that's improved his pass blocking each of his first 3 seasons. If we look back to 2023, he finished 17th among guards in pass blocking grade. Even better, his run blocking grade was ranked 11th among guards. And it could be a really smart move by the Bears if Jenkins plays ball. What we also know, Poles places a value on a player and he stays firm. He will not be fleeced here, so rest assured of that. And we can only look at his performance this year, and it's been pretty exceptional. We're looking at 327 pass blocking snaps, 327 blocking snaps altogether. That's 121 run and 207 pass. He's allowed only 7 pressures, 2 sacks, 1 quarterback hit, and only 4 hurries. And that's on top of just 1 penalty. And the stat I love to go by to measure linemen, that's pass blocking efficiency. And he grades out at a 97.6. That's elite. That's among the best guards in the NFL. And he's been at left guard all year, but as we know, he's uber flexible. For his career, he's been flexible, but let's just kind of look at last year so we have some recency. He was 455 snaps at left guard and 276 at right. And on top of it, he's willing to play hurt. He's started in 6 games this year, and he's only left 2 due to some pain tolerance issues, but he's holding up really well so far this year. And besides that, he's good right now. He's healing up over the bye, and I think we just get it done. He can be a Pro Bowler when healthy, and seriously, it's so hard to predict injuries, and we get a stout player, premium position, and it might be timing the deal just right, just like what we did with Jalen Johnson. Man, that deal is an absolute steal, though. Jalen Johnson, it was right time, right guy. We got the deal done on a team-friendly deal, and we can do the exact same thing for Jenkins if we act now. And it also fits the mold of what Poles loves to do. You drop Davis in the offseason, $9.5 million, I believe, is available to pay for the Jenkins deal. Then you address the 2 other line needs at the draft. I'm talking about the other guard position, and I'm also talking about center. So doing one now, that makes it more possible for the Bears to get a discounted rate and not have the need to fill the center position and both guard spots during the offseason. I think that's a heavy lift, and it involved doing it through the draft plus paying up big time in free agency for someone who really moves the needle. But we get a team-friendly deal done right now with a guy that plays with a nasty streak, and he will play hurt. He's looking great this year, and he's actually holding up much better. But like I said, and now I get it. Most of the chatter about is need on offensive line, most notably at center and also at guard. But the thing is, we got to talk about what's likely. And it's very rare for a high-profile lineman to get traded at the deadline. They're often off-season deals, right? And even if GM Ryan Poles could get it done, it'd take considerable time to get the player acclimated to fit into the Bears scheme. Like with an offensive lineman, you can't just plug and play and still have a gelled unit. I think further shoring up the line will be during the offseason beyond signing Jenkins. And that's why you see so many defensive players get signed. They're more of plug-and-play players. They can make an immediate impact. Offensive line is more about is more about the whole line and not just the individual player. And looking at the unit recently, it's been so much better. Braxton Jones, he's improved his pass blocking. An interesting thing was written about Shelton on this channel by Dono Van Lent 6998. That's on this channel. Thank you, Don. I want to give you a shout out. And he wrote, I'm fine with Shelton. He played well now with two big guards next to him. As soon as Nate got benched, as soon as Pryor went in, he literally looked way better. And shout out to you once again. I agree. Shelton has put in two really nice outings, and with the addition of Pryor, bookending him with Pryor, who is a large man. He's a road grader. And Jenkins on the other side, it's looking at this unit as a whole and how they're really starting to play together. And we're starting to see some really good results. Pryor, he's been absolutely bulldozing next to right. And Jenkins, he's doing his thing. He's been playing through injuries in the bye week. That should get him to 100%. So is it time to reward him now on a team-friendly deal? You guys let me know. Is this a money-saving move to solidify an important starter that should be done? I kind of think so right now. I think it's the right time. You guys let me know in the comments. And I'm going to continue with something here. There's no such thing as having too many offensive linemen either. I don't think it's time to release Nate Davis. I think we keep him on the roster just in case of fire break glass. I mean, we've got Bill Murray, Doug Kramer, Ryan Bates, Larry Borum now, Nate Davis. It's still wise to at least explore potential trades on the market. And I think Poles is going to do that. We're sitting at 4-2, but after the next 3 games, we have some tough sledding. All 6 NFC North games, showdowns against San Francisco, Seattle. General manager Ryan Poles, he should be checking in with counterparts on teams that are perceived sellers. We talked about some teams like Cleveland that are already selling off players. For sure, kick the tires on these guys. And to close, let's kind of look at where this offensive line is ranked. And I'm going to go to the story on Yardbacher. It's just kind of showing how analytics sites are like catching up on what the Bears are doing and what their surge forward is actually looking at by the numbers. And this is really eye-opening. Let's look at where the offensive line is presently being ranked. And this is showing that the line is really coming into its own. And let's not forget, this line was a top unit the second half of the season last year. Much of the same personnel, and maybe a lot of the dysfunction at the beginning of the year was adapting to Shane Waldron's scheme, and also Shane Waldron not coaching them hard enough. Now everything seems to be rolling. Everything seems to be in place. And I don't think it's just inferior competition. I think this line is starting to gel. And you can't tell me that last year was an absolute anomaly that didn't really happen. We were one of the top lines the second half of the year in the whole league. And once again, we have most of the same personnel. So let's hear me out here. Let's look at Coleman Shelton. He's rarely getting mentioned for anything positive, but he's currently number 10 in the NFL right now. And this is due to ESPN's pass block win rate among interior offensive linemen. He's in the 96th percentile. This includes guards and centers. Coleman's coming off a really strong game. He led the Bears offensive line in pass blocking grade against Jacksonville. Then you slide over to Matt Pryor. He broke into the top 20 at number 19 for pass block win rate among interior offensive linemen at 95 percentile. And the 2 Bears tackles, they haven't really impressed as much as pass blockers, but Braxton Jones at 81% and Darnell Wright, he is 7th at 81%. That gives us Braxton Jones at 5th in the league, Darnell Wright at 7th in the league. Both guys top 10 in run block win rate. And now you're looking at the Bears as a team. They're 7th in pass block win rate and 2nd at run block win rate. And then you're looking at Jalen Johnson. He's giving a shout out to the Bears offensive line for its great performance. And this is to hear directly from Jalen. There's been some times when Caleb's back there almost all day. And that's what Jalen Johnson had to say. And we're kind of looking at this. We got to get the images out of our head from the beginning of the year when this line was just starting to gel. Some really bad optics, some really, especially that goal line performance against Indianapolis. I don't want to forget those things. But we got to look at it objectively and decide if whether those things were an offensive line coming together, adapting to a scheme, an offensive coordinator kind of getting his stuff together and starting to adapt his scheme to the players that he has. Man, we got to decide if that's what's happening or if this offensive line is completely bereft of talent and you've got to just spend a ton of money in free agency or at the trade deadline this year and kind of just throw pieces in here and hope that we improve. For one, I'm starting to believe the analytic numbers. I think it's also showing what the eye test is showing me. And it really goes to show some support for this when we looked at the great performance of this line last year with much of the same personnel. And you were also having a quarterback like Justin Fields that was holding the ball forever. The receivers weren't even running good, crisp routes. And the offensive scheme was really off under Luke Getsy. Now we have a scheme that is humming. We have an offensive line that's blocking effectively. They're holding their blocks. They're moving laterally. The offense is really keying in on the strengths of this team. And I think all things combined, things are looking way up for the offensive line. I think it's time to reward Tevin Jenkins, get that solidified, and still be looking on the trade market at the deadline for a quality guard or a quality center. The thing is, it just rarely happens for someone who's marquee. So why pay the huge money for someone that's old, later in their career, or overpay for someone when a team has a contract to unload? Solidify Tevin Jenkins, address the center and the other guard position in the draft, and I think we're good. And keep these draft picks. Use a first rounder. Use our 2 second rounders to solidify this offensive line and make us a team to fear for many years, because the defense, I think, is a finished product. You guys let me know what you think. I know you will. I'll see you in the comments. Bear down and enjoy the bye week. We can chill a little bit and kind of work into some of these areas, some of these subjects that we wouldn't normally have time to get into with a game on Sunday. So I'll talk to you guys soon and let me know. See you.